It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com and search for the KBC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, today we got to do something very specific because we get calls from the whole Southern California area. We even get calls from Northern California. Sometimes we get calls from Vegas. But specifically, I want to hear from people who live in places like Orange County, San Diego County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, Ventura County. I don't specifically want to hear from the residents of Los Angeles for this story. Actually, if you live in LA County, but not LA City, I want to hear from you. But if you live in the city of Los Angeles, as I do, we're not the ones who get to sound off on this topic because what is being asked of the rest of the state of California is to bail out the city of Los Angeles for their failings. I'm going to tell you what Karen Bass did up in Sacramento, begging for state money to fix her budget shortfalls under the guise of this all has to do with the fires, which it doesn't. But ultimately, I want to hear from you at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. If you do not live in the city of Los Angeles, are you cool with your tax dollars going to bail out the city of Los Angeles? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. If you're not aware, the city of Los Angeles found out last week that they are short $1 billion in their budget. And while Karen Bass would love to tell you that this is all because of the wildfires, most of these budget problems were well apparent before the fires ever started. So this really doesn't have to do with the fires. There are several components to this. One, revenue wasn't nearly what the city of Los Angeles projected it would be. So sales tax money, that's down. Hotel tax money, that's down. That's something you can blame on the ineptitude of our local electeds. Because if you're not cleaning up the streets and making this a safer place, people aren't going to come and spend their tourism dollars here. It is very easy to fly to LAX and take that shuttle down to Anaheim and spend all your money in Orange County and go to Disneyland. On top of all that, the city only budgeted for $100 million of liability payouts, and we hit $300 million last year. Now, there's a whole variety of factors with those, and we'll get into all those, but that's the city of Los Angeles not being very realistic. And one of the things Karen Bass is specifically asking for is $200 million to pay for lawsuits. The state of California, I don't know if the state of California taxpayers should be on the hook to pay for the lawsuits that the city of LA settles, because whether they're legitimate or they're frivolous, the city of Los Angeles does not fight any lawsuits. They settle everything. They figured out that it probably is more cost effective because they would probably lose, because if you're on a jury, you're going to rule against the city of Los Angeles. On top of that, they negotiated raises, not just for public safety, fire department, police, but a whole bunch of different public sector organizations, and they didn't really have the funding to make that up. And then the fourth thing is, yes, there has been a lot of spending they had to do because of the emergency with the fires. But to go up to Sacramento and to say this is all because of the fires is just disingenuous. So let's hear what Karen Bass had to do up in Sacramento begging for state money. But I want to hear from you at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. If you live outside of the city of Los Angeles, how do you feel about your tax dollars going to bail out LA? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to KCAL.
LA Mayor Karen Bass is sending an SOS to Sacramento tonight, looking to the governor to help bail the city out of a massive budget crisis. The situation so dire, Bass, along with the delegation of council members, made the trek to the state capitol, hoping to make their case to state leaders.
Did they all fly Southwest? Who got the middle seat? Was it Marquise Harris Dawson? Was it Bob Blumenfeld? Did they all really need to go up there?
And KCAL News political reporter Tom Wade is covering this story tonight live from Brentwood. Good evening, Tom.
And good evening to you, Pat. Well, the mission by LA Mayor Karen Bass and LA city leaders had two parts. One, she wanted to convince the governor and lawmakers to get more money to LA to close this huge budget deficit here.
Why is that the state's responsibility? The city of Los Angeles can't figure out how to manage their budget. I don't know why that's a state problem. And getting a bailout, okay, maybe that solves this year's budget. But what about next year's budget? Because these are operating deficits. The city of Los Angeles spends way more money than it takes in. We already talked about the whole issue with parking enforcement. That department spends $65 million more a year than it brings in with all the parking tickets that they write. If you get a bailout this year, that means there's another shortfall next year. And what do you go back to Sacramento for more? It also sets a precedent. If Karen Bass goes to Sacramento and gets this bailout, then why doesn't Daniel Lurie go to Sacramento and get a bailout for San Francisco? Because they've got a deficit. Matt Mahan could go to Sacramento, get a bailout for San Jose. They've got a deficit. Whoever's going to be the new mayor of Oakland can go to Sacramento because we know they have a deficit.
And the second part was to help secure disaster relief money. Not even 3 months since a raging inferno turned a swath of LA into ruins, city leaders are now scrambling to deal with another major crisis, a surprise billion-dollar budget deficit.
It wasn't a surprise, though. They were already sounding the alarms back in December about this, pre-fire.
The situation so dire, LA Mayor Karen Bass and a delegation of city officials, including council members, went to Sacramento to plead with lawmakers for funding to bail out beleaguered LA.
I'm confident that they will be helpful. I'm not confident that we will get all that we asked for.
LA City Councilman Bob Blumenfield made the trip with the mayor to Sacramento. He says the recent fires put LA's budget challenges on steroids.
But the budget challenges started before the fires. The fires have nothing to do with the extra $200 million in liability payouts or the revenue projections that were way off.
Blumenfield says this massive budget deficit is reminiscent of the 2008 financial crisis.
If you actually look at this as a percentage basis, what we're facing today is bigger on a percentage basis than what the city faced in 2008.
The chances of a bailout from Sacramento may be...
Except there's no disaster for that. There's no recession for that. So this is all self-inflicted. Again, these budget problems persisted before the fire.
The chances of a bailout from Sacramento may be bleak as state lawmakers are looking to make big cuts to cover the state's budget shortfall. When we asked the governor's office if they'll swoop in to the rescue, a spokesperson would only say Newsom is laser focused on disaster relief money, which has nothing to do with the city's budget.
Oh, that sounds like a hard no from Gavin. Good for him.
And even if the Trump administration signs off on disaster relief funds, that money can only be used for fire recovery.
It's a lot.
Oh, but you know how this works. The money they had set for fire recovery, they'll spend on something else, and then that money they can use for fire recovery. We've seen this game over and over and over again. Just because something is earmarked for a specific spending doesn't mean the city knows ways to get around that.
It's a lot. It's a lot to just try to comprehend. And
like a lot of Angelenos, Natalie McVeigh is feeling crisis whiplash.
Pandemic, the fires, the strikes. California's being hit really hard.
LA city leaders are already warning that layoffs, even massive ones, could be on the horizon.
And while I don't want anyone personally to lose their job, there are definite inefficiencies in the city of Los Angeles. I think that is obvious. And I don't even know if it has to do with a whole lot of city workers, because we need people fixing the broken streetlights with all the stolen copper wire. We need people repaving. We need people tree trimming. We obviously need police and fire, but there's a whole lot of glut we do waste money on. What was the big story last week? Oh, that's right. The gang leader who happened to found a nonprofit that's been getting millions of dollars from the city of Los Angeles to reduce gang violence. Turns out it was helping recruit gang members. That's the kind of money that this city wastes. The money that goes to nonprofits that either are straight up criminal, like that one, or they're showing zero results. Like all the money Karen Bass has spent on Project Inside Safe and all the other homelessness things that are tied to whether it's Measure H, HHH, or Measure A tax revenue. We haven't seen any results from any of that. there should be definite places to cut spending where we're not seeing any bang for our buck.
Councilman Blumenfield says city leaders have to protect critical city services.
First and foremost, public safety. That's the prime responsibility for a city is to keep its citizens, anyone who lives in Los Angeles, to keep them safe. Now, safety.
And let's not forget to deal with the budget shortfall last year. That's where they had the hiring freeze, which means LAFD could not hire the mechanics to fix the fire trucks. That made a major impact on the readiness for that horrible day.
Now, safety is more than just police and fire. Safety also means that they're safe when they drive on the roads, that they're safe from, that the street lights are going to work and they're not going to, get into a traffic accident.
So I know this is
also, just have to point this out. It's never discussed among any of these people, whether they're the mayor or members of the city council, all people like making well above the average salary in the city of Los Angeles, why they're not offering pay cuts for themselves or their top staffers. Bob Blumenfeld makes over $220,000 a year. So do all 15 members of the LA City Council. It's not a lot, but at least symbolically it would say, hey, we're hurting as much as you are. Every single one of these districts has discretionary spending that goes to absolute nonsense.
So I know this is all a lot to digest, and it does sound like a bunch of bad news, but there is at least some silver lining here. Councilman Blumenfield says, unlike 2008, when we had that horrible financial crisis, the economy fundamentally is much stronger right now, and that could help LA weather this storm. Reporting live in Brentwood, I'm Tom Waite, KCAL News.
Appreciate you sharing that silver lining, Tom. Thank you.
It's not much of a silver lining because it doesn't matter if the economy's doing well in the rest of the state or the rest of the country. If people don't feel comfortable coming to Los Angeles specifically, not just the county, but the city of Los Angeles and spending their hotel dollars, because that's where a lot of tax money comes from, is when people book hotel rooms in the city of Los Angeles, that hotel tax goes to the revenue. And you got a couple different factors. If you're got some meeting in the Valley, why wouldn't you stay in Burbank? Much safer, much cleaner. I mean, yeah, all the bars close at 10, but that's okay. Burbank is great. We love it. I guess Barney's is open late, but that's neither here nor there. You could, of course, if you're looking to enjoy all the beauty of Southern California, go to Orange County, where it is much, much safer. The freeways actually move. You have a lot of options, and Los Angeles has a lot of problems. It's the worst traffic in the entire region. I know. I drive it every single day. You get out of LAX, every direction you go is going to be absolute hell. So there's a lot of reasons for people to not come here. But on top of all that, Karen Bass's signature program, Inside Safe, has master leased hotels and motels across the city to stuff the homeless in, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do with them later. Well, those are now hotels and motels that are not collecting revenue from tourists, so that's less money for the city of Los Angeles. But look, ultimately, this isn't up to me anymore. I live here. I don't know why. I'd love to move, thinking about it every day, but, I'm locked in at a 2% interest rate. I can't move for a very long time. I mean, I could not afford the house that I live in now at today's interest rates. Again, that's neither here nor there. But you who are listening right now that live outside of the city of Los Angeles, whether you live in other parts of LA County or you live in one of our neighboring counties, because this signal goes all the way from Ventura County to San Diego, how do you feel about your tax dollars going to bail out Karen Bass in the city of Los Angeles? Are you okay with that? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. If you live outside of the city of Los Angeles, I want you to sound off, and I want to make your voice heard because it's important. This is your tax dollars going to bail my city's ass out. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's start with Monica in Irvine. Monica, hello.
Hello, Randy. Thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
So thank you. I'm furious with Karen Bass. By the grace of God, my parents' house did not burn down in the Palisades. Just from her negligence and her lack of leadership and much, much more. And now she is expecting us to write a check for her after everything she's just neglected since she started her term. People believed in her and voted her in. A great candidate such as Rick Caruso lost the election. He would have fixed everything. And she had the greatest opportunity in the world to take Los Angeles to the next level. And she just literally burned Los Angeles to the ground. And it's absolutely, and just going to Sacramento, asking for more money. I believe the sales tax in Los Angeles went up.
Oh, yeah. Well, in Los Angeles County, they raised our sales tax for the homeless, and they might need to put another sales tax because it's the only way to make up these budget shortfalls.
I believe so. I thought the LA City Council was all with equity, yet they're raising sales tax. So those folks are spending more money on goods. It doesn't make any sense.
It's completely insane, Monica. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it. Sorry, there was a bad connection there, but I love what she had to say. Monica's not having it. She lives in beautiful, safe Irvine. Also a place where the bars close early, but we love Irvine. And Irvine taxpayers shouldn't have to bail out the city of Los Angeles. That's what Monica thinks. What do you think? If you live outside of the city of Los Angeles, are you okay with your tax dollars going to bail out Karen Bass's overblown budget? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Brad in Orange County. Brad, hello.
Hi, Randy. How are you?
Doing great.
I think we need to do the take a penny, give a penny that we find in any gas station on any corner. Okay, revenue to the city of Los Angeles for the upcoming Olympics, money for the upcoming World Cup. Bass gets a loan against any California money she gets that came from Orange County and any other county, something for something. Keep in mind, as for her buddy Gavin, who she took this trip up to see, that when Orange County had its beaches shut down, Orange County residents take that same trip up to the Sacramento Capitol, where Gavin put an actual sniper on the roof of the Capitol building. Don't forget that. When Orange County taxpayers went up there to the state capitol, to our state capitol, to object to the beaches being shut down, where was Karen Bass? Non-rhetorical question. Where has Karen Bass been for anybody other than Karen Bass?
I think you're totally right about that. I love your idea where, the city of Los Angeles has to lose something to get this bailout, and it should be a loan. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe we have to make some kind of compromise here. Maybe if Orange County is going to bail out Los Angeles County, maybe we make a little trade. I know how much people who live there would love this. Maybe Whittier becomes part of Orange County.
I'm just not sticking up for Orange County. Every county, per its population, gets a cut of the revenue from the upcoming Olympics and the upcoming World Cup. They're going to be making money hand over fist. We have somebody account for it, and a dollar that she takes from every other part of the state than her little corrupted, craven corner of it, every penny she takes, she pays back through hosting the World Cup, through hosting the Olympics.
I think it's a brilliant idea, Brad. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. Karen Bass went to Sacramento asking for a bailout for Los Angeles' $1 billion budget shortfall. If you live outside of the city of Los Angeles, you live in other parts of LA County, you live in Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino, Ventura, what have you, San Diego, give me a call right now. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. How do you feel about your tax dollars going to bail out the city of Los Angeles? 800-222-KABC. 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. The city of Los Angeles is $1 billion in the hole. Karen Bass went to Sacramento looking for a bailout from state taxpayer dollars. So if you live outside of the city of Los Angeles, you live in the county of LA, or you live in Orange County, Ventura County, San Bernardino, Riverside, San Diego, how do you feel about your tax dollars going to bail out Karen Bass's blown budget in the city of Los Angeles? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. If you're on hold, stay on hold. We'll get to your calls next. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com, and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Karen Bass went to Sacramento looking for a bailout.
No!
Karen Bass's budget is $1 billion short from what she budgeted last year.
My message to the community is...
Well, that's not a good drop. I'm trying to find a drop that makes Karen Bass look like a buffoon. Here we go.
Oh, you're so optimistic.
There you go. So Karen Bass wants your state tax dollars to go to bail out the city of Los Angeles. So if you happen to live outside of the city of Los Angeles, I want to know how you feel about that. Whether you live in the county of LA, or you live in Orange County, Ventura County, San Bernardino, Riverside, San Diego, even Northern California, we got people up there. How do you feel about your tax dollars going to bail out the city of Los Angeles and their overblown budget? 800-222-KABC. Let's start with Dale in Long Beach. Dale, hello.
Hello, Randy. I'm sure the people, I don't want to pay for it. That's a precedent. It's not good. But I'm sure the people of Pacific Palisades and Altadena definitely don't want their taxpayers' dollars going to the city of Los Angeles.
No. And what is this going to teach them for next year?
Well, they need a whole lot of money because the Olympics come into town, for one thing. And the state is broke. It's not like the governor has the money that he could just give her. How much money does she really think she's going to get? Realistically, I would like to know.
Oh, they'll take every penny they can, because that means they don't have to reform the way they run this city.
There's no way Governor Newsom's going to give her $1 billion.
No, he's not going to do that, because he knows how politically toxic that is, because doing anything to help out Karen Bass right now is politically toxic, because Karen Bass is politically toxic. Gavin Newsom wants nothing to do with her.
Could you imagine the residents of the burnt-out areas' tax dollars going to the city of Los Angeles? Talk about insult to injury.
I think you make a good point, Dale. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Morris. Morris, hello.
Oh, good afternoon. What's interesting, the city's always broke. What is Karen Bass going with all her entourage there to France over this Olympics, wasting millions of dollars for his hotel stay, plane fare, and the taxpayers are paying for it? All right. We have the sanctuary city. Who's paying for all these immigrants illegally here across the border, come on buses? Who's paying for that? City of Los Angeles, are you the taxpayer? Now the city needs more money? They can start laying off some personnel. I don't mean the police or firemen, but the library personnel. They can close some libraries. The homeless go to the libraries and use that as their motel. So there's other ways they can cut corners without demanding more revenue from the taxpayer or bond issues. Enough is enough. The homeless money is being wasted. They have no accounting for that. And it's one relative after another relative working the books. They know how to deceive the public, and the stupid public is going to vote for I don't know what. What are they voting for? Do they know what they're voting for? They just go to the poll and vote. And enough is enough. No new bonds, no new tax increases. They can start laying off personnel, start stopping paying for the homeless initiatives, social service programs, cut there. Because you as a taxpayer, when you need the police or firemen right away on a personal level, they don't show up. So what good is it then? So Until they make changes there, nothing is going to change. It's the same. And Karen Bass needs to stop traveling so much, going to Africa over there. She needs to stay right here in Los Angeles. And, what is she, the queen of the city here? And the king to go with it and just take our tax dollar and blow it to the sky, and the stupid people don't wake up? You as a taxpayer, homeowner, you get nothing. You see nothing. Absolutely nothing. Home invasion, burglaries, all they do is take reports. You see nothing, I see nothing. Constantly, we need more money. And what is the money for? Social service programs. We need to cut all of that. Not all social service, but we need to cut quite a bit of it. Enough is enough. It's out of control. And I hope everything gets voted down. No more pay increases, no more tax increases. Enough is enough. We don't need it. The homes in Pacific Palisades burnt down. There was the fire hydrants didn't work, and these people, the homeowners, have a heavy insurance deductible that they're out right now, and the misery that they got to live in a hotel somewhere for probably a year's time until the home is rebuilt, if not longer. And why do we have to keep on supporting this kind of a system? Furthermore, also the city council needs to take a pay increase as much as 50%. Most of them are not even.
I'm with you on that, Morris. We got to do that immediately. Thanks so much for the call, buddy. Appreciate it. Was looking for an off-ramp there. Yeah, I think they should all take a 50% pay cut, and their top staffers that also make $200,000. It's interesting what Morris said about the libraries, because the idea of the library is great. I have a very fond memory of taking my niece to the Santa Fe Public Library and reading her books while she's on the rocking horse and making friends with other little kids. But that's possible in Santa Fe. Los Angeles, the libraries are de facto homeless shelters, and nobody in their right mind would take their child there. The city of Los Angeles has budgeted $340 million for library funds this year. You could eliminate that entire budget because, and this is true, there's a free library app where you can get every book that's in a library, all the kids' books and all, for free on your cell phone, which everybody has. Interesting, right? Something to think about. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. Karen Bass is looking for a bailout to fill her $1 billion budget shortfall from the state of California. Do you want to see state of California tax dollars going to bail out the city of Los Angeles? 800-222-KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Let's get back to the phones on Karen Bass looking for a bailout from the state of California. Let's go to Mike and Reseda. Mike, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great.
This Karen Bass is a disgrace to California. Listen, they got a big problem right now. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, 8-year veteran. I almost fell and broke my neck the other day practically. I was walking down the street, and a street vendor's out on the street with no permits, not paying no taxes. Karen Bass could have a lot of money if she got these damn people, round them up, tell them to pay their tax, get off the sidewalk. I called the police department and told them I couldn't get by on the damn sidewalk. And they said, you know what? We can't touch them. We were told to leave them alone. Are you kidding me? All these businesses and restaurants should be screaming at Karen Bass to get these people cleaned out, give them water to wash their hands, make them pay their freaking taxes like everybody else. I almost broke my freaking neck. They were blocking the whole sidewalk, not just the street, the whole freaking sidewalk. I fell into the damn gutter.
And these are the kind of things that happen all the time and usually end up with lawsuits against the city of Los Angeles, which they settle instead of solving the actual problem. And that's why the budget's overblown. Mike, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. If you'd like to email us, you could do so at randykabc@gmail.com. Roger says Newsom should repeal AB 5, the law that got rid of independent contractors, and get the million affected back to work paying taxes, go after those who work and pay little to no taxes, tax foreign remittances at 35%. Then the state will have tens of billions of dollars a year. That is a fantastic idea, but a little too common sense for Gavin. When we come back, we're going to go through what I can actually see in the city of LA's budget from the LA controller, Kenneth Mejia, because he has a website, budget.lacontroller.app, and Well, it's a little misleading because he wants you to think that all of the money in the city of Los Angeles goes to the police. There's a little more to it than that. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Let's get back to the phones on Karen Bass looking for a bailout. Let's go to Jay in Culver City. Jay, hello.
Hey, Randy. Thanks for taking the call. Karen Bass and her minions at LA City, they're probably going to do the same thing that Culver City is trying to do. Culver City has a shortfall with their homeless money that they're spending. They're probably going to raise the sales tax another 0.25%. That's going to put the city of Culver City at the highest sales tax in the I believe the state up to 10.5. Not to mention that, but any fees that you pull in the city, such as permits for filming or building or whatever else, they're going to take a look at all that and they're going to increase them all to start making to fill these shortcomings.
And that's only going to drive more people out to the places that aren't doing that. It is a short thinking game, and ultimately it's not going to fix the problem of this. Cities like Los Angeles and Culver City are not budgeting properly, and they're not prioritizing things that are actually important. Jay, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Well, now I know when I work in Culver City not to buy things in the city of Culver. I'll go right outside. Okay, so Kenneth Mejia, who is the DSA guy who got elected controller over, gosh, I can't even remember his name now, the slimy LA City councilman, Paul Koretz, that's who. Kenneth Mejia ran on a platform of the police are wasting our entire budget. And that's what he likes to promote. While he's been sounding the alarm of a budget shortfall, he blames it all on police because that's a majority of the liability payouts, which I think is just going to happen in any municipality. But what exactly is your end game there? No police? Should we fight these lawsuits? Maybe. Instead, we settle every single one out of court. And yes, the police budget is larger than any other department in the city of Los Angeles for a reason. The total budget for the city of Los Angeles is $12.8 billion. Now, police does make up a large portion of that with $3.3 billion, but there are more departments in the city of Los Angeles than I can count. And while they don't have budgets that big, I bet you we could find this money somewhere, because the next line item, if you look below police, it's not even fire. It's other special purpose funds. What does that mean? Oh, we don't even know. Well, other special purpose funds has the annual budget of $2 billion. And considering I've looked through every line item on Kenneth Mejia's little chart, I'm going to guess other special purpose funds is a lot of the homeless money. Because there's no line item there's no Department of Homelessness, but we're spending a ridiculous amount of money every year. So, hey, there's your $1 billion right there. But I don't know exactly what that money's for, but let's see. Fire gets $1.3 billion. The Department of Sanitation gets $1 billion. Wastewater Special Purpose Fund, well, we got to clean the poop out of the water. That's $400 million. Appropriations for Parks and Rec, $400 million. Street Services, $382 million. Transportation, $363 million. Why are Street Services and Transportation two different departments? Feel like you could merge those two, cut some of the overhead out. Appropriations for library funds. We talked about that one. $340 million, and the libraries are not safe to use. Maybe we give all the kids the app. We can even buy them all iPhones. Now let's get to some of the weirder ones. The Capital and Tech Improvement Experience Program. I don't know what that is, but it gets $334 million a year. What is that? I'd love to know. The city attorney's office gets $282 million a year. Building and safety, I guess that's important, $243 million a year. The housing department, $236 million a year. How much of that money is going to developers to give them subsidies to build affordable housing? Time to cut that off. The Prop A Local Transit Assistance Fund. Don't know what that means. I'm going to guess it's subsidizing Metro for the poor. $200 million a year. I guarantee that money's being mismanaged. The Bureau of Engineering. Well, I guess we need that. $200 million. Other agencies, $174 million. City Planner's Office, $109 million a year. Wow. The Mayor's Office, $97 million a year. Karen Bass's own office, which is just Karen Bass, her deputy mayors, and her staffers. $97 million a year? What exactly is in Karen Bass's specific office that almost costs $100 million? These are the questions we need to ask. The entire city council's budget is only $85 million, which is still way too much. They all need pay cuts. The Bureau of Street Lighting, $89 million. And apparently that's not nearly enough to fix all the street lights. The Bureau of Contract Administration, $78 million. That seems kind of high. Department of Finance, $83 million. Don't these seem kind of high for administrative jobs? Animal Services, very important, super underfunded, $61 million. The Prop C Anti-Gridlock Transit Improvement Fund, $60 million a year to decide to time the street lights so the bus goes by faster than your car. Great. Now we get to the really weird ones. And again, if you start looking at some of these, you start adding them up, we can find some savings. City of Los Angeles spends $60 million a year in the Community Investment for Families budget. The hell is that? The Special Parking Revenue Fund, $50 million there. The Economic and Workforce Development Department, don't know what that is, $37 million there. You think that's unemployment? No, that's a state program. What the hell is that? The Department of Cultural Affairs, $26 million there. What do they do? The Department of Aging, $15 million there. What do they do? The City of Los Angeles Ethics Department. Well, the City of Los Angeles has no ethics, but we still spend $11 million there. The Department of Emergency Management only has a $7 million budget, but we have a Department of Civil, Human Rights, and Equity that gets $7 million a year. What? And by the way, once you go below that, there's all these other departments where it's smaller than $7 billion, but they're $7 million. The Neighborhood Empowerment Department, $6.3 million. The Public Accountability Department, another $5 million. The El Pueblo de Los Angeles Department, the Youth Development Department. There are all these departments that you couldn't tell me what they do. I couldn't tell you what they do. And of course, the one that we really need to blame is police. But you look at this line item. I would love for Kenneth Mejia to explain what are these other special purpose funds that we're spending $2 billion on. Last year, we spent $2.2 billion on. Because if that's the homeless budget, there, we solved it. Stop spending money on the homeless. It doesn't work. We'll see if Karen Bass gets her bailout from Gavin Newsom. I don't think so. I think that move would be politically toxic to Gavin, and he doesn't want that. But we'll see what happens because the city of LA is broke and cuts are going to have to come. But if you just looked at the budget that I looked at, I think these cuts can come from some non-essential departments, like the Civil, Human Rights, and Equity Department. Thank you all so much for listening. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC.